Okay, so now let's start off with probably the most confusing thing about try and catch. It's public class throws. Public static void main string args. Okay, so at this point, let's just bring in what we already know. Let's open up a file, import java.util.star, import java.io.star, fix the word import. Okay, so let's go ahead and open a file, scanner n equals new scanner, new file, file does not exist. .txt. All right, so this file is fictitious, it doesn't exist, and if we try and compile it, we just will save it, put it in the right place. There we go. All right, if I compile it, it's gonna tell me I need a semicolon. Okay, no problem. And if I try again, it will say unreported exception file not found. So this is a checked exception. I need to actually do a try catch. Now we know that if we don't want to bother with the try catch, we can just do a throws file not found exception. And what does throws do? Throws just says I'm kicking the can down the road. I'm not going to deal with it right now. I'm going to let some other method that called me deal with it. In this case, since it's main, Java Virtual Machine called it, and so if the file doesn't exist, it'll crash the Java Virtual Machine. So if we can see that, all right, this is have seen lots of times. File does not exist. File not found exception. Great. Okay, that's what throws does. Throws moves the problem to whatever method called this one. And so let somebody else deal with it. However, I'm just going to comment this out. If there's something else called throw. So I can do throw new exception. Something bad happened. That's the name of my exception. So I can have that here. Unreported exception, so of course I've got to either surround that by try catch, or have a throws exception. And that works. And we run that, and whoa, java.line.exception, something bad happened. So what does throw do? Well, throw creates the exception. You can create a new file not found exception, new exception, whatever exception exists out there, you can use it and give it a message. You can also create your own exceptions, which is beyond the scope of this lecture, but the exceptions are created. So what does throw do? It creates this exception. So why would you want to do that? Well, here's an example. Suppose I have some input. So scanner keyboard equals new scanner we'll get some input from the user, and then we'll say system out println, please enter a positive number greater than 0. And what if, for whatever reason, we found, we say int in input equals keyboard.next int. Well, what if input equals 0? Then we could have throw new exception and say cannot divide by 0. Otherwise, we could say, double or whatever. Well, maybe we'll just do int result equals 13 divided by input. But dividing by 0 is often something we really don't like. And what if we want to throw an exception too? Say if input is less than 0, then we can say throw new exception and input must be positive. And you can have as many exceptions as you want. You can throw it. And what this does is it creates a message. An exception is a message that if it's not caught and handled, it will cause your program to crash. But when libraries and other pieces of code that aren't usually written by the same people are used, exceptions can be very, very useful. So here's the thing. Throws, what does it do? It moves a problem to whatever method called this one. So throws exception means I'm not taking care of it myself. Whoever called me, they can handle it. And throw is I'm creating the exception. So let's go through some examples. I put in a 9. Okay, no exception was created. Great. So I put in a 0, throws an exception, cannot divide by 0. So what is again? Throw creates an exception, and throws just moves the problem down to somebody else. Whoever created throws and throw, they sound almost the same. There's just an S different. They really should be spanked. I mean, throws and throw are so similar, but you really need to know the difference. So throws, you'll be using it all the time, moves the problem to somebody else, and throw creates a new exception or creates the problem.